breaking. Congress makes shocking move overnight to strip Trump of strategic military power. This is insane. North Korea metastasizing into a nuclear power has been a major concern for President Trump and his administration. While the president's predecessor, President Obama, seemingly went out of his way to allow North Korea to obtain a level of nuclear capability which now threatens the entire world. For decades, North Korea has subjugated its people to slavery, starvation, and summary executions, while they continue to develop a nuclear weapons program with the stated intent of destroying the United States and allied countries of those North Korea deems their enemy. Recently, the rhetoric between Kim Jong-un and President Trump reached a precipice when the North Korean dictator stated that he had a button on his desk at all times which allowed him to launch nuclear weapons. And the United States never want to back down from a fight. President Trump tweeted, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform him that I too have a nuclear bee? At him. But it is a much bigger and more powerful one than his. And my button works. After the president's tweet, liberals across the Twitterverse got all hot and bothered talking about doomsday prophecies and acting as if President Trump was some evil warmonger. So what was the liberal response? Well, Democrats in Washington, D.C. now want to remove President Trump's right to launch a nuclear first strike without congressional approval. A right afforded to him for good reason, so that in the event a nuclear strike is warranted, the United States would have a tactical advantage against our enemies. If President Trump were required to gain congressional approval for a nuclear first strike, this would only serve to make America weaker. Leading the charge to attack President Trump's right to order the launch of nuclear weapons is Senator Ed Markey, who said via Twitter, worried that a real Donald Trump could launch a #nuclear war. My bill, with a reptile, would prevent Trump from launching a nuclear first strike. No one person should have the power to decide when the U.S. will be the first to use nuclear weapons. What Senator Markey and others fail to realize that what they are asking for, if a nuclear strike were necessary, would lead to the deaths of countless more Americans while they debate whether or not President Trump can order a strike against our enemies. Also evading President Trump's detractors is the process which must be performed in order to carry out a nuclear strike. The exact process is classified, but the logistics of a nuclear strike would allow for General John E. Hyten, who is in charge of U.S. strategic missiles, to disobey President Trump's order for a nuclear strike if the general felt the order was unlawful. The Uniform Code of Military Justice specifically covers this point, which subordinates in the military chain of command can refuse an order if it is illegal or is otherwise not in order with military values. In addition, President Trump would have to discuss his desire to launch a nuclear weapon with his advisors, including Secretary James Mattis, who would likely advise President Trump appropriately if Secretary Mattis felt a nuclear strike were unwarranted. Democrats have incorrectly presented the matter that President Trump can launch a nuclear strike without any accountability consultation, and that simply isn't true. Though the decision ultimately lies with the president, he still has to answer to the American people. The end result of President Trump not backing down from Kim Jong-un, and clearly stating he has no issue with destroying the North Korean regime with nuclear weapons if needed, has resulted in North Korea reopening cross-border communications with South Korea, something that has not happened in almost 2 years. Jin for the Associated Press reported that South Korea quickly welcomed Kim's decision and later confirmed that the two Koreas began preliminary contacts on the channel. During the 20-minute communication, Liaison officials of the two Koreas exchanged the names and examined the communication lines to make sure they were working according to Seoul's unification ministry. Since President Trump made his declaration about his button size, North Korea seems to have toned down the rhetoric and stated willingness to launch nuclear weapons at the United States. Whether this remains to be the case is anyone's guess. But one thing is certain. President Trump has made it very clear to North Korea that they are not dealing with a lackadaisical administration only interested in diplomacy.